Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show where we analyze, we scrutinize, and celebrate solo a Star Wars story 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I'm Riley Silverman from RileySilverman.com.
Riley, welcome back to today's episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for minute number 49 of Solo a Star Wars Story. Minute number 49 starts with Han telling Chewbacca that he's touchy.
Touchy?
And it ends a minute later. That's his nephew. It's his grandfather. Isn't it?
Itchy and lumpy and touchy. They don't.
Yeah.
Touchy wasn't there for Life Day because he's
like a Smurf village.
He's not what we talked about in the family anymore.
Yeah,
so.
I know. He's
Touchy's the uncle we don't.
He went upstate for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it ends a minute later with Dryden Voss telling Beckett he needs to give him a blank. Needs to give him a blank.
Now, you said I need to give him a R. It sounded a little R to me, so I said he needs to give him a Reese's peanut butter cup. Just give him a Reese's peanut butter cup.
You actually wrote it down. I did not write mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't write it down either. I didn't know that was part of the assignment.
Okay. Right. I'm the only one.
That was good. Well, I felt free to ignore the R, and I said that he needs to give him a convex filled with unobtainium. So he's mad about that. He did not get it.
Crossover.
Riley, it's not a match. Riley, what did you have for this one?
I have give me a reason to stay here, or I'll turn right back around.
Oh, good. The old father threat of ending the trip. No matches there, but we do get to talk about minute number 49. Yeah. So this is they go into Dryden Voss's lounge. His Easter egg lounge, I call it, because it is crammed with noteworthy things, some of which you can find, of course, in the Solo official guide, but we're also all over the fish guide. The fish guide. I'm thinking about The Godfather again. Yeah. So yes, we get to see the cool lounge.
Yeah. Well, we start out, Chewbacca's saying something.
Yeah.
Which again, if we go,
that's right. Yeah, before they get in the lounge.
If Chewbacca's, if in my head, if Chewbacca's the frat boy guy, he's saying something a little bit untoward. He's just like, oh, you guys used to, do you
even lift?
What?
Do you even lift?
Exactly. Which then makes Chewie say, Han is like, hey, look, we're just friends, okay, whatever. I forgot exactly how he phrased it, but
yeah. I think he was still mad about how he came back with the drinks. He was like,
right.
I had to drink both of those drinks myself.
Yeah. I said I was going to get drinks, and then I come back and you're talking to your girlfriend.
Like, hey, you get your own drink. If you told me you didn't need a drink, I wouldn't have gotten you a drink. It's like
Chewie's getting he's getting a little possessive for considering they just went on one mission together. Now suddenly he's all well, your role there, Chewie.
He does have that life debt against him now, so he kind of has to look, I'm stuck with you, so let's just do this right.
He still hasn't resigned himself.
They kind of downplayed the life debt thing in this, though. They didn't really kind of make that as much of an aspect of it as it used to be.
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah, I guess it was maybe too, not compatible with today's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing canonically that says that, right?
No. But it was always just one of those things like Darth Vader falling into a pit of lava that just everyone knew. And I'm sure it was some part of the old continuity.
Oh,
somehow.
yeah.
They kind of twisted it with Dr. Aphra, where Kirsten has a life debt against Dr. Aphra. He hates her because of it. It's like a thing that he's mad about. Yeah.
Does he honor it, though? Does he...
it's a little maybe it's also I think at one point she also owes him money, so it's is he hanging around because of her life debt or because he wants to make sure she doesn't die before she pays him back? So
Sidebar: were you excited to see him show up in Boba Fett?
I literally said it out loud. I was watching my TV. It was 12:30 in the morning, and my neighbors probably suddenly the weirdest suddenly hearing me just yell the name of this random Wookiee out. I was like, "Not Kirsten!" I was just screaming it. What a random. It was one of those moments where I was very excited about. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought his appearance was one of the best things in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do love when he first appears because he doesn't do much when he just kind of shows up, looks tough, and then does kind of like an eyeball thing and then walks away. We don't really see him again the rest of that episode. It was like wow, they They did a lot. They brought him in for not a whole lot, but then obviously he has a significant bigger part later on. But it was just very funny when he just kind of like walks in like, here I am being Kirsten. Okay, well I'm gonna go be Kirsten over here now, and like wanders off.
I like if somebody in a Boba Fett show just walked in and looked menacing and then walked off silently.
And was the cooler for it.
Yeah. But going back, I kind of half referenced it at the top of the show. I want to recommend everybody, if you can, track down the British sketch comedy show Bruiser, because there's a sketch in there that it's ancient, so it probably doesn't hold up as well. Not ancient, but it's from the like early aughties, I think, and so it probably doesn't hold up as well as I have a fondness for it. But there's a sketch with it's Matt Holness, who's Garth Marenghi and a couple of other things, and then what's his name? We talked about Arthur Dent earlier. The
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. There we go. Yeah. And they just have a thing where I think Martin Freeman just keeps calling him Touchy, and it just goes on. It just becomes so ridiculous that they're in just a bunch of different scenarios, and he's just like Touchy, and it totally drives him crazy. But recommended for a lot of things, like Olivia Colman's in there. I think the Michelin Web guys are in there. A bunch of
makes sense.
Richard Ayoade and Matt Berry, I think, show up at different times. Perhaps maybe I'm conflating it with a different series that comes later, but it's a good, fun series, especially to see people being like, oh yeah, that guy.
There's a lot of old British shows that are like, oh, these 5 or 6 people you love are all doing stuff together over and over again over the course of several years. So that makes sense.
Didn't Han call Rio grabby or like about 15 minutes ago in the film?
Well, I know Beckett called Han mouthy. He said he was a mouthy scooch.
That's right. I thought he called Rio
and Beckett
grabby
called him best day of your life, my grabby friend.
Oh, Beckett called him grabby.
Right.
Okay.
Beckett called him that.
Got it.
Because then Rio asked.
There.
Yeah. Rio said, "Is there a chance the track could bend?" And then.
Sorry, I'm very happy about that moment.
But yes, now inside.
Not on your life, my Andorian friend. Sorry.
Inside Dryden Voss's office, the Dryden Voss office.
The office. Now, this is not the British office. This is the
Martin Freeman.
The Voss's office.
The Voss's office.
One of the first things I noticed, I guess one of the first shots, there's a green statue next to it's like a green. That is the dancing goddess idol of the Godoin people. That's it, the Godoin people. And I guess they're still waiting for it back. Dryden Voss is, of course, a archaeological what's it called? He's like Belloc,
right? Thief.
But yeah, he collects antiquities. He collects iniquities.
It's iniquities, yeah. And maybe that's why Doc Undar is there. Like they have like a dealing of happening of some sort.
Oh yeah,
what he's there for.
Yeah, so we can assume all the stuff here is like priceless, black market stolen goods.
Right. Now the dancing goddess, I think originally appeared in the Marvel Star Wars comics from the 80s.
Oh wow. Oh,
the dancing goddess was in. Let me see. Does it say that it's in here? You
have a better Easter egg list than I do, my friend.
Oh, no, wait, that is the Netherlands Wikipedia page. I do not need that right now. Thank you. Yeah, first appearance, Star Wars number 79. So it's going way back. 79. Back, way back. Written by Mary Jo Duffy. And it's got a picture of somebody gripping a wow. Here's the publisher summary: a new adventure of the world famous characters from the greatest science fiction fantasy epic ever. You won't believe the car chase this issue with Lando and a drunken Wookiee as the search for Han Solo continues. Lando and Chewbacca travel to the planet Arcan 4. And they have a whole thing.
We're slowly learning that Chewie's had like a historical drinking problem we never realized was just an issue on screen before.
I was just, really.
Turns out Wookiees can actually speak perfectly fluent Galactic Basic, but Chewbacca is just always slurring and he's always so drunk in every scene.
Oh.
Uncle Wookiee, Uncle Chewie.
the there's two valuable relics here: the dancing goddess and the minstrel, and I think they're the same.
A minstrel. I really like. I think that is some. We always debate fan service pros and cons, but I mean that's some hardcore, deep level fan service right there.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the perfect place for it. Background of somebody's office to have, and somebody who's involved in the same kind of thing in a Han Solo movie to have this, And
it's probably someone who read that comic in the 80s, loved it themselves, thinking about ideas like, I'm just going to stick this random thing in here people wouldn't remember, but it's a fun throwback.
Right.
I'm curious what this droid head is that's in the background. It's like a blue, and it has it's like a crystal skull essentially.
Are you talking about?
That's no droid head.
Yeah, you're talking about Zim's death head.
Oh, of course. Apparently, I am. I don't know what this is.
That was I cooed out loud in the theater when I saw that. I gave a little squeal and because that is the. It's on the cover of Han Solo and the Lost Legacy, one of the Han Solo adventures by Brian Daley, and it's
okay, cool.
Featured on the cover.
1978 or 79.
Yeah, nice.
And so especially again, in a Han Solo movie, to have that kind of legacy, lost legacy, the referring to stuff that used to be canon and is now legends, but to have those little touches in there. And we'll get another one later when not an image of one, but we'll get another reference later when Lando's on screen. He references those books.
I won't be here for
similar.
Question: this person that Kira is talking to about, is that just one of Dryden's guards, or is that somebody in particular? Because they look a little bit different than the person standing behind Han and Chewie. It's this person with a mask and a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show there's one main security guy who they give a name to, but their helmet is open, so you can kind of see their face. I don't know if this is the same person, but it seems like it's a kind of standard guard uniform. So
yeah,
I don't know.
They still have a mask.
Enforcers.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's one of the
name Toth something.
I think because it's paused, I'm like, wait a minute, do I recognize? Is this a whole thing? I'm sure if I press play, it's like she's there for 10 seconds, and yeah, but.
So getting back to the crystal skulls for a second, the other thing I like about this crystal skulls is it's a double meta reference, of course, because Indiana Jones himself faced his own crystal skulls, and so that means this can now contribute to the the Han Solo fever dream when he dreams that he is Indiana Jones when he's in Carbonite. We'll have to tell our friends over at Indiana Jones Minute to add that to their
nice.
Because they like it when we remind them about Crystal Skull.
Oh, they're knee deep in it, my friend. They don't need any reminders.
They're slogging, but they're doing it.
Yeah, you can do it, boys.
Are all these Easter eggs in that visual guide that you've got? Because I think I might have to pick that up if they are.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. You can see it's kind of a panoramic shot where you can kind of see a bunch of the stuff, but they don't give you a lot. They didn't mention anything about the green goddess being from the Marvel thing, so they don't go to...
Well, they usually keep it kind of in universe a little bit anyway.
They keep it all in that.
Right.
Much like Tatooine, a visual guide, which is all an illustrated guide, which is all in universe.
One of the other things we see in the background that caused quite a kerfuffle, I remember at the time, has since become quite less special, but it definitely changes the context. We see a Old Republic era Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
Kind of looking kind of samurai-ish, a bit. So
a little guiding thing on top of it, the little antenna.
Yeah. I'm glad we have a Old Republic expert on to tell us. So what does that mean when it says it's an Old Republic? Isn't the Old Republic just like Chancellor Valorum and stuff? Yeah, no, now we're in the Empire.
Right.
Well, there's sort of different. The Old Republic at this point is kind of in flux with what's canon or what's not canon, but it's sort of because the High Republic now is the 200 to 500 year period before the Republic, so that the Old Republic is the era where you have characters like Darth Revan and stuff like that, and there was a whole Sith and Republic war that happened, and that's kind of what's called the Old Republic era, which is when the Knights of the Old Republic game is set. And that's set 5,000 years in the past before the stories of the prequels and the modern day films. So
right,
yeah.
So the Old Republic is newer than the High.
The High Republic is newer than the Old Republic.
So it goes Old Republic, High Republic, Republic, Empire.
Yeah.
And is it New Republic? Is that what they've
kind of changed the entire like dating system now? So there's like the Age of Republic, and there's like the Age of like Empire, and Age of Rebellion, and there's the Age of Resistance. So So when they say it's an Old Republic, that's not very precise. That could be like 1,000 year. It could be 5,000 years old, because even in the Old Republic era, like in the Old Republic video game, there is a reference to a war that happened with the Mandalorians, where the Jedi and the Mandalorians were fighting in this massive war against each other. And so it could be like, because there's a character in the first Knights of the Old Republic game who is like a survivor of the Mandalorian Wars, who's like a broken down Mandalorian, and then in the second game he is like now Mandalore, and he's in charge of all the Mandalorians that have survived and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely elements of Mandalorians in the Old Republic, and then I'm sure there's like novels that are on the era. There's definitely Revan novels and things like that, so there's probably more mention of those things. But and then the High Republic is more recent. High Republic is only a few hundred years prior to what's happening in like the prequels in this period of time. So like Yoda is alive during that period of time. Maz Kanata is alive during that period of time, and that's when those books are set.
Pre-Chewbacca, though.
Yeah, pre-Chewbacca.
Do R2-D2 and C-3PO show up?
They have not yet. With 3PO, especially, we know is not yet built in his form, but R2 is currently not.
Oh, that's true,
yeah.
See, I don't know. To me, I don't give... I was just discussing this with someone on Twitter today. I don't give Andy credit for... Like, he didn't create C-3PO. C-3PO was basically an existing robot that someone had thrown away, and he just kind of turned.
We don't know that.
Well, he looks like every other protocol droid out there, so like it doesn't seem like
they buy him skin. He does, but for the insides.
So you're saying inside he's totally a unique thing.
Well, let me ask you: if you build something from a model kit, you still built that model kit, so.
Right, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like It doesn't seem like you deserve the same credit as I totally invented a brand new robot. But
I don't think he invented protocol droids. I think he took parts of a protocol droid that he found and built them all together. It's like when someone builds. It's not unlike how he builds his own pod racer. It's like basically he's whipping things together in his backyard. But I still think it's so impressive for a kid of Anakin's age to have put together a protocol droid and programmed him and everything.
Well, that's the thing is, where did Anakin create his personality, or is this something that's hardwired into a like his brain, where anytime you would connect that head to something, it's going to be C-3PO?
Well, so I had this wild theory about droids in Star Wars that you may have, and I'm wishing I was in an L3 episode because I could go off on it for even longer. But I actually think droids have a programmed personality, and I think the personality that we learn about with various droids has to do with how long it's been since they had their last memory wipe or been reset and things like that. And so I think that part of why R2 is the way he is because R2 is never really wiped, and he's full of rebel secrets and plans. So he's known to be like rebellious and sneak around and stuff like that. And then I think L3, the reason why she is so persnickety, not persnickety, but she's so pushy and she's so like dead sure is because she has put herself together, and that's why her personality is as like headstrong as this, because she's like, I have built myself, nobody's gonna tell me what to do. Whereas I think 3PO is the closest we've seen to any droid who is still exactly the same as he was programmed to be. And that's why as soon as he is turned on in the first movie in episode 1, and he's exactly the same personality as he is throughout the rest of the stories, because even when he's mind wiped, he's essentially the same character because that is his personality.
That would be something interesting to see, is to see R2-D2 in like the High Republic time, but he's just like a totally like drone, he has no personality, he just does whatever he's told and so on.
There's kind of in like newer Star R2. Wars, I've noticed they've kind of moved towards the idea of like droids actually having like obsolescence and like new, like that's kind of what like the BB-8 astromech droid's supposed to be, a newer, fancier astromech droid versus the kind that R2-D2 is, which is why in I think it's even mentioned in the visual dictionary that R2 is considered like a really out of date. It's like using like a clamshell apple at this point. But because of his history with the rebellion and like how important he was, he's kept functional out of like respect for him. But he's like really out. It's like having someone using like a razor phone at this point in time. Like name more things that still exist. But
right now, there's somebody listening to this on a clamshell Mac. They like just called somebody on their razor phone.
No!
Like, oh, they're complaining about me. They say I'm
going to use a rotary phone to call the police on me.
They sent a telegram to their friend.
So I don't know if we will ever get R2 specifically in the High Republic. I think the idea is that those kind of droids have not yet been invented, but I think R2 is a relatively cutting edge droid in the Republic era that we see in the prequels, which is why he's a droid serving the Queen of Naboo. Yeah. Whereas I think that he's pretty outdated by the time you get to 2 generations later in the sequels.
The fact that the fact that R2, that is a much better explanation than anything they came up with in The Force Awakens for why R2 is under a blanket. The fact that there was like, now the latest download, he's not compatible with the new operating system, so we can get, it's like finding your second generation iPod or something. So that's I like that explanation. So
Alex, I have your second generation iPod here.
I know that I thought of that.
And if you had a map to where Luke was, you would fire that up to find out where it was. So,
yeah. So I like that.
I think that's why R2's not ever like going out on capers in any of the sequel films the way he would have. Like he's not flying around droid factories.
Yeah.
Let the young droids do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to change gears for a second.
Okay. Go for it.
Unless you had more Easter eggs you wanted to point out.
No, the only thing, all that conversation about the High Republic, the Old Republic, the New Republic made me, I was like, wait a minute, who sings that song, Drugs God in the New Republic? And it was Warrior Soul. So anybody else who was wondering, it's Warrior Soul.
Warrior Soul.
Yeah.
And of course, New Republic is the publication that the character in Glass House was working for the other Hayden Christensen franchise.
Right.
Wait, are you talking about Stephen Glass movie? Oh, yeah. God, I got whiplash there for a second.
Yeah. I knew what I was doing. I knew it was a wild swing when I did it. But
have you ever seen Jumper?
I have seen Jumper.
You have seen Jumper. I think you might be the first person we've asked. I've
seen Jumper, and I've seen Little Italy, the romantic comedy he's in with Emma Roberts. Yeah.
You are a hardcore Hayden head,
and I'm not. That's the wildest thing about it. I do think I'm cautiously optimistic for what they're going to do with him in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see.
Yeah, my theory. I know we've already derailed a lot in this episode, but my theory with Obi-Wan is that their usage of Vader. I'm sure I'm not the first one to say this, but I think it's going to tie into that line in Return of the Jedi when he says to Luke, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. So I do think that that's their excuse for why they're going to do another Obi-Wan versus Vader thing in the middle of Obi-Wan's history. Is Obi-Wan has now learned that Anakin survived Mustafar. He knows that he's out there. He's going to make one attempt to try to turn him back to the light and fail. And that's going to be Obi-Wan once thought as you did.
Well, I'm in to my depth of my bones, I do not feel like they should meet, but I also understand that not everything's going to corroborate with my headcanon. So
to be let me as your counsel, let me say it's not your headcanon, it's the canon when we first see them together on screen. He says, when last we met, I was the learner, now I'm the master. So like that we're no longer in that era. And so anything that happens now would go against that. But they seem to have no problem going against things that were said in Star Wars, the movie that created the Star Wars.
Well, I mean, to be fair, neither did the sequels to Star Wars that were set in the 80s. Those movies also tended to we're not quite sure where we're going with this stuff. So even the prequels were like, oh, we're gonna, we forgot that we said that we wanted him to give his lightsaber to his kid, so we got to stick in a shot of him picking it up and carrying it off, like that kind of thing happening. Right. So
we forgot. We need to go film a yoink.
Yeah. The way that I have resolved all this in my head is that I've decided that all of these Star Wars movies are being recounted to us by the Wills in the distant future beyond them. And that's why there's occasionally things that don't line up, because it's a flawed storyteller who's recounting events that have happened to us in the past.
I actually like the idea of, like, if they did not have such strict continuity for precisely that reason, like each one was, you're looking at sort of different, like almost like a Rashomon thing where you're looking at it from a different, but I just can't see it. I just can't see reconciling Darth Vader knowing Obi-Wan was still alive and not trying to hunt him down and kill him. Like, not.
Yeah, he's gonna have to think he dies again in this series for that to work.
Like 2 battles that have to end with them being somehow separated and not killing each other. Like, it just seems to strain, but we'll see what happens.
Maybe there'll be another convenient little earthquake kind of thing.
Yeah. Or a when the shield generator will come down, they'll be able to see each other, but not get
and point.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so shifting gears to nitpick about something else.
We haven't talked about the scene at all in the scene.
This is a scene where Tobias Beckett tells Dryden Voss why they lost the coaxium, and he explains about Emphas Nest and stuff. And this is where he gets angry and says, Emphas Nest has been an irritant forever. And that seems like a strange thing to say, because as we learn, Emphas Nest is, as I looked it up, she's 17 years old. Like, how long has she really been that much of an irritant?
I mean, Leia's about that age in A New Hope, and she's been kind of a problem for a bit, so.
I guess so, but that just seems like, I don't know. Like a crime lord being harassed by like, it's like being harassed by like Nancy Drew or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, I gotta get, I don't know. It seems funny to me that.
I mean, this is also relative to how long they mean by forever. Like, it could be like 2 or 3 years. Like, she could be like, 14 or 15. And
it's true.
Also, isn't there like a line? I mean, I haven't gotten the Emphas Nest scene again in a while, but isn't she like taking over the mantle from her mother or something like that? Like, wasn't that like part of it? I think that might be part of it.
Yeah,
you might be right. I could be misspoken.
I know. I remember we talked about that, and I think it's come up. I don't remember where it comes up. We'll have to see if it is mentioned later in the movie. But there is that idea that Emphas Nest has kind of taken over this mantle from others. So
but Star Wars is not shy about having child soldiers in many aspects. So I think that there used to be this whole order of them. Actually, they were actually taken as children and raised to be these warriors with laser swords. So
sounds like some shady people in robes would do that. Yeah.
Well, I set it up, and I'm still mad about it. I don't know why.
Well, one thing I'm not so upset about is we get to see Han eating space salad here. He's observing this all going on. We see him eating some kind of green leafy vegetable. We've mentioned we very rarely see Han eating or drinking, so it's good to see that one of the few times we do, he's eating healthfully. Doesn't strike me as a salad eater, but I guess it's like a buffet.
Well, ham salad was. Yes. I also thought, like, oh, what if he just grabbed it thinking it was something to eat, but it was actually a creature?
It must happen.
Yeah.
I mean, both unintentionally and intentionally. We
know for Jabba the Hutt that it definitely happens on purpose.
Yeah. Or Chewbacca himself, like, slayer of porgs.
Yeah. And then waster of porgs. Like, once they're dead, he's like, I'm not going to eat it now because it makes them sad. So just die for no reason.
Well, he wanted to give him something that they could bury.
Yeah.
A couple of berries right around that roast pork.
We also see a Sith Holocron in Dryden Voss's office there.
I read that. I didn't see it, but I wasn't looking that closely because I also.
It's like a pyramid. It's like a pyramid.
Okay.
Yeah. The Wayfinders in Rise of Skywalker? It looks kind of like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's called a holocron.
So the holocrons, I guess, are just some kind of like magic space computers. Like they can kind of seem like they can kind of do whatever it is that the plot needs them to do, right?
They're kind of like holders of information. They're kind of like I think they're sort of like space codexes. Like essentially, like you have a message hidden in them, and then you put them out there for people to find and unlock and stuff like that.
But in Rebels, didn't Ezra and Maul team up to use in a holocron, and they were able to ask it a question, and it could like basically like answer his question, whatever it was. Like it didn't
had
seem like it was
part of the answer. Like I think he needed to combine a Sith and Jedi holocron together to kind of find the information they're looking for. So it was kind of like a way of like channeling through the Force a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Pete, you don't look like
no.
you don't. Yeah, Pete. Yeah,
I don't like any. You're not making me like it more, so it's all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to think of them as it's that that saying where technology once it's past a certain point would seem like magic. That's going to be my rationale for it. I don't like the idea of it being some kind of magical computer, but it could be a very advanced computer that I just don't understand works. All right, that'll go along with.
Well, the problem too is y'all have that running history of, is the Force real or is it magnets kind of stuff, and I think that the holocron definitely works with the Force in some way. I think it because in Revenge of the Sith, when Obi-Wan leaves the message for other Jedi, it's through a Jedi holocron. That's why like Kanan has the holocron that is the message from Obi-Wan. I don't think Obi-Wan found Kanan and gave him this holocron. I think the message kind of goes through like a holocron network or whatever. And maybe that's why it's able to find Obi-Wan, because maybe he still has his and they can like locate him that way somehow. But I think that, I think it's a way of channeling the Force and doing something with it to convey information or a beacon of some type.
Yeah. See, that I don't like. So I just be complete. You just keep bringing up points, and I just keep telling you what
That's fair,
like about them. No,
I don't.
I'm the Jedi stan here, and I will defend Jedi mysticism all day long. And I know that I'm in not friendly company for that particular topic, but it's okay.
You're a good sport about it, though. That's we appreciate that. But so here's what. To me, the Force should not be involved with technology. It shouldn't be something like the whole point of the original Star Wars was that Luke throws away his targeting computer. He loses R2. He just is going just by the Force. And it like the Empire was all like computers and robots, and not robots. There was good guys, but it was the whole like a cold technological thing. So the fact that and I'm sure Lucas approved the whole holocrons thing, so it's not like but like a lot of, like you said, it's always an evolving mythos. So
I mean, Lucas also wrote a character who is the chosen one of the Force, and part of how his Force power manifests is his ability to control machinery.
That's
so true. I think the difference between what's happening with Luke and the targeting computer and the Force is, I think the targeting computer is just sort of like an aid to something, whereas like when he pushes that aside, it's like you're recognizing the world around you, whereas like the holocron is more of like a messaging system, which is a little bit different. And like we know the Jedi have a computer archive system there, so there's lots of things. And actually in the High Republic there's a whole wild thing that this is something that I dislike a little bit. In the High Republic, the Jedi have these special ships called vectors, and vectors require lightsabers to be used as like keys to use them, and that bugs me so much, because I'm like, Jedi frequently lose their lightsaber. Are you saying that if you get your arm cut off in battle, you can't fly away in your ship to escape because you don't have your lightsaber anymore? So that's one thing that like bugs me. But I think you're right that there is picking and choosing as to when the Force is working with or against technology. But I do think that it's always in a way where it's like a sense of laziness, right? It's like you don't need that guidance computer because you have this mystical force within you that you can trust and you can feel and you can sense the pulse of the universe, essentially. Yeah. Whereas I think that I'm not even sure the holocrons are technology. I'm not sure they're mechanical. I think they might just be like crystals, and like, because they use kyber crystals for a whole lot of stuff at that point, for channeling energy and stuff like that. So it might even be something along those lines.
I just can't get over this fact that they're using lightsabers as car keys. Like that just seems so. It's a
big thing. It's a big thing in the Light of the Jedi novel, which is otherwise a very fantastic novel. But that was something I was like, wait, they're using lightsabers as keys for anything? So
it just seems like such a mundane like thing. Like, the
idea is supposed to be that way only Jedi can use them, because only Jedi would have like lightsabers for the most part. So it's like it's a thing that's not typically found amongst people unless they like found one on the black market. I think that's the idea, is like, this is a ship designed just to be used by Jedi.
So I do like the idea of General Grievous driving 4 cars at once. But other than that, I'm not on board with any of what was just said.
I like the idea of Grievous having like a keychain with like 6 lightsabers.
Right.
Yeah, is this the one?
on a chain.
It's like
attached to his belt.
It's like in Short Circuit where Johnny Five has to open that car for people and just like going through like, is this your vector? Is this your vector? I don't know. I'll open for you. It's fun.
Now there's gonna be a scene of like some Jedi anxiously trying to figure out which key it is that starts the car, like fumbling with it. Oh, it's gonna be great.
I feel like I undersold The High Republic, and I did it a disservice there. It is an excellent book series that if you are a fan of Star Wars books, I recommend it. But
I'm all skeptical of all of this stuff, and I'm not on board waiting to be, you're not pushing me off board. You're just not, nobody's selling me on it.
What I will say is this, as people who dislike the Jedi as much as the two of you do, if you want a series of the Jedi constantly failing to do their jobs, it is a good series for that. And it is very much the Jedi constantly thinking they have the upper hand against an enemy who is not even a Sith. Enemies who do not use the Force, who are just able to frequently outsmart the Jedi, and to the point where it's like almost ridiculous. It's in an enjoyable way. I recommend The High Republic because that is what's happening constantly in this.
That is doing a much better job of selling me on it than
The bad guys. I know we've gone on very long for this episode, but the like antagonists in the High Republic are essentially space Vikings, and they're like led by this very cunning like leader named Marchion Ro, who just like is like constantly playing like 3-dimensional chess with everybody, and just has like
literally or figuratively.
Figuratively, he basically just has like he's thought about like every move like 3 in advance, and
got it.
Well,
I was more interested in literally, but
I know. I should have said it.
Yeah, there should be like a kind of a Soviet U.S. chess parallel. You know what I mean? Like the Empire should have a chess team against the Alliance chess team, and then they,
and then they could sing about
it's like a slobs versus snobs thing. Yeah, totally. All right, well, I guess unless does anyone else have anything for minute number 49, we have some more Dryden Voss fun.
Kind of just an info dump kind of scene a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of repeating things we already know from the plot, but kind of giving it to us like, this is what just happened.
Yeah.
And it's in a different room with lots of fun stuff to look at, so it's a good...
And we get that first shot of Dryden dropping his veneer of civility a little bit. Yeah. Like, he's kind of like, okay, like, I'm very nice and polite to you, but now you're wasting my time, and I just want to go ahead, and you're making excuses, so... Right. My anger is going to come up a little bit. And I think it's a good foreshadowing to later in the movie when he's really got that, like when he's eating and he's doing that, which is just delightful. But
yeah, I wonder if one of the artifacts there in the room behind him is the handle at which he flew off.
That's what Chewie should have said to him.
Yeah, I think Chewie did say that, but nobody understood.
Yeah, because he was slurring because he was so drunk.
Yeah. Hey, which one of these things is the handle that you flew off? Oh, you didn't understand me? Yeah, sorry.
Pays to be.
Well, that wraps up minute 49 of Solo: A Star Wars Story. We've done 49 minutes, but you know who's done a lot more minutes is the entire Movies by Minutes family. If you go to moviesbyminutes.com, you'll see that there are, at this point, over 250 different movies by
Definitely
minutes.
Over 200.
Definitely over 200. Let's call it 225. Among friends. Go to moviesbyminutes.com and you can find people doing what we do about Star Wars, but about everything from, give me an example, Pete, Goodfellas minute to
Godfather,
Velvet Goldmine to
Velvet Goldmine.
There's got to be James Bond in there, right?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. James Bond has been attempted a couple of times, but it's it's going to take you like at least 13 years or something like that.
Not like Star Wars,
right? No.
Yeah, we're running out. We're finding out where the sidewalk ends. Yeah, so all these movies, some doubles even, right? We've now had a couple of doubles, different teams doing the same movie.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
wasn't there 2 Clerks going on simultaneously?
Yes. Right.
No, you're supposed to be there today.
I think there's 2 different Predator minutes also.
Yeah, Predators minutes.
So.
So anyway,
stuff like that.
Go to there, moviesbyminutes.com, and find another show you can listen to that you will like, not quite as much as ours, but you might still like it. and then join us tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.